CFM Radio, we are live.
Yo, welcome back to another Wednesday of CFM Radio, video game music and news.
Video game music and news. I'm your host, Vector. Drix is here doing his great spinning. And we've got ourselves a couple of guests joining us tonight for the CFM Awards.
Oh yeah, Game of the Year time.
Game of the Year, and a couple of other things that we're going to talk about because we have our own awards, and we're going to be talking about the Game Awards proper. So, first, we have the man himself, Mr. Johnny Deals. Johnny.
What's good, guys?
How are you, Johnny?
I'm doing great. Thank you for bringing me back on for the Game Awards, for the Game of the Year Awards here with you guys. I really appreciate you guys having me back again. It's always great with you guys.
Yes, much love, brother.
Thank you very much. We love having you on, Johnny. And you know him, you love him. Our next guest is the one, the only EGP Wonder Chef. Chef, how are you?
Pretty good. I already feel like I'm getting trolled a little bit. I said I had a lot to say about Starfield, and we're starting off with the Starfield name theme. So I got some memories. I was like, wait a minute, what is that song? I'm feeling it. But no, I'm glad to be back. It's been a while, and yeah, this is gonna be a fun one.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming back. We love you guys on CFM Radio. Some of our best guests. But that's what we're saying tonight. We're talking Game Awards, and before we get into the CFM Awards proper. Fellas, I gotta ask. The Game Awards, the real Game Awards, Jeff's Game Awards, coming out tomorrow. What are you guys thinking about those?
Ooh. Did you get your votes in time?
There's some mad developers out there, man. Some of them wanted to get on there, you know? It happens, man.
Yep, a couple of snuffs, a couple good snuff.
Oh yeah, a couple of snubs. You know, I would say the game that we're listening to right now, Starfield, definitely got a little bit snubbed at the Game Awards. But when it's up against such stiff competition, I don't really know.
Yeah, we've had a blessed year in gaming and a lot of meaty titles that we'll get into later. But it really was a lot of good things, a lot of tough representation out there in video games.
Yeah, Chef, do you care to share your votes, if any?
Honestly, I'm not usually that much of an awards person. I think that especially when you get to a year like this, like 2023, where there are you honestly can't choose like a winner. I feel for almost anything because it was such a good year for games. I'm always not a big fan of like the one winner type award shows, which I know obviously it's fun, but there's too many cool things about too many games, especially this year. So I didn't vote for anything, to be honest. I got my thoughts, which we'll hear later, but I didn't vote.
Hey.
Yeah, I wanted to vote for TI as the best gaming event, but I couldn't vote for TI over EVO, the fighting game event in Vegas, because TI is just a Dota 2 tournament, but EVO had the logistical nightmare of bringing so many games together and then having them all compete on the most competitive stage, probably in gaming. So that was my one tough choice. I was like, man, I love Dota and I loved watching TI, but EVO was just such a great event for thousands and thousands of competitors.
They do Smash there?
I don't think it was on. Yeah, no Ultimate. It used to be Melee.
Man, it's a heck of a time trying to find those CRTVs to even compete with.
Yeah.
Those Smash players have tons of them, trust me. If you're like, hey, I want to run a local, does anybody in the area play Smash and have CRTs? You will get like 40. That's how it goes. Yeah. They're a dedicated
And
scene.
it's Las Vegas. And it's Las Vegas too, so I mean, tons of old technology in that city.
Yep. Vegas actually has a pretty strong Smash scene. I know a couple of people in that scene. But I've got to say, the Game Awards this year, there's a lot in it. I don't have a ton of thoughts on it in general. I think it's a good year for. I think undeniably this year is the year of the RPG, and it's the year of the fighting game. And I think it's funny that Game of the Year and RPG of the Year, when you look at both of those categories, there's a lot of similarities in there. You know what I mean? But there's the big difference is that I don't know about a game like Tears of the Kingdom taking a Game of the Year nomination over a game like Final Fantasy, or even Starfield for that matter, because when it comes to raw building, let's just say it like that, it comes to the raw building, that's the big thing with this new Zelda, right? Raw building power. I think Starfield does that a little bit better.
Wow. Starships, they're meant to fly.
Not just starships, dude. You can build like a whole factory. It's wild.
I beg to differ when it comes to Arc Ascended. When it comes to building.
Whoa. Arc Ascended, though.
That's been the stream.
Shh.
Playing a lot of that over on the Johnny Deals stream.
They fixed a lot of stuff, dude. It was probably the most skeptical game I was about the year. All year, I was like, I ain't buying that. And the minute I saw it, I saw people playing it, and I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try. And I have not been able to I put it probably about 60 hours since it came out 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even just watching your stream, I've noticed, like, oh, those are some significant quality of life improvements. Oh, like, the water looks beautiful. Wow, like, the graphics are better. Like, even just with the DLC. Almost, like, to that Phantom Liberty point, you know? Like, a comeback story like Cyberpunk.
More, too.
Absolutely.
Cool. That's another game that's balanced. Another game that's been balanced out. That game got really balanced out. Holy cow, that game's balanced out.
I mean, the Unreal 5, though, guys. The Unreal 5.
Dude.
Yeah. RTX on.
You gotta be careful with that Unreal 5, though, man. You gotta be careful with it. That bit Lords of the Fallen in the butt. Big time. On certain things with different consoles. It bit them in the butt because of the Unreal 5.
Ooh.
Some compatibility issues.
Yeah, dude, it was on an Xbox Series X about 3 weeks ago before I got into Arc. I was playing that game and I went down a stairway, and I went from a 70 to 60 to like probably like a 5 to like a stuttering 2.
Ooh,
it was bad, dude.
To be fair, there's a lot of compatibility issues this year, especially on the PC. And Chef, did you run into any like weird bugs or buggy games that you thought were like, what the hell? Like, I know I did.
Oh yes. I have many complaints on my Twitter about the PC port of Mortal Kombat, which unfortunately was not particularly good, and I'll maybe talk about that later. But there were some hilarious bugs. We got characters to like T-pose and throw like 100 times their size, and I don't know. I mean, it was really funny, but it was really sad because I spent $100 on that game. So definitely seeing like Motaro, who's like got like 4 legs. He's like a set.
Awards to the first musical break, or our first big musical break. Here are the categories that we are going to be setting up for. So the categories for the Game Award, for the CFM Awards 2023 are, we're going to start things off with Best Game with Friends. Next one will be the Best Game to Buy on Sale. The one after that will be the Surprise Hit of the Year. After that, we're going to go for the Story of the Year. After that, we're going to hit up the biggest disappointment of the year. I'm sure there are quite a few opinions that will be slung in that category. We're gonna follow that up with the best OST, because I gotta tell you guys, I don't know about you guys, but for my money, there was a lot of awesome music in our games this year.
Yeah, that one was impossible to choose. Yeah. I'm still deciding, to be 100% honest.
It's really, really hard. I think I'm going back and forth on a couple of them in here. That's one of them. And then, of course,
solid, bro.
Hey, man, of course, we have our Game of the Year. And what awards show would this be without a Game of the Year award? But I think if anybody is down to jam out right now, we're going to jam out right now, guys. We are listening to some Third Strike. This is Akuma's theme. Drix, what we got after this?
You know what? I'm gonna hit you with a surprise classic with a little Donkey Kong flavor after this killing Akuma stage from Street Fighter Third Strike.
Street Fighter Third Strike Akuma theme, CFM Radio. We are live.
Whiskey when I can, Whiskey, Johnny, I'm drinking out of a broken can. Whiskey for my Johnny, oh. Whiskey, give me a broken nose. Whiskey, Johnny, whiskey made me paw my toes. Whiskey for my Johnny, oh. Whiskey drove me around Cape Horn. Whiskey, Johnny, there was many a month when I was gone. Whiskey for my Johnny, oh. I thought I heard the old man say, Whiskey, Johnny, I'll treat my crew in a decent way. Whiskey for my Johnny, oh. A glass of grog for every man. Whiskey, Johnny, and a bottle for the shanty man. Whiskey for my Johnny, oh.
CFM Radio, we are back.
We're back, and we're talking games of the year. That was Whiskey Johnny O from Assassin's Creed 3 Black Flag, and the DK rap from Donkey Kong 64 before that.
I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's one of the last really big Assassin's Creed games that I got into, like, a lot. Like, I loved it.
Yeah, sea shanties will really immerse you in a game's atmosphere if you're on a boat.
So, how we're going to do this is we're going to start off with our revered guests first. Then we're going to move into the CFM team proper. We're going to start things off with Chef. Chef, what was the best game to play with friends this year?
Oh, this one's easy, actually, but it came out so recently that I think it's not getting in a lot of awards. But Lethal Company, it's got to be Lethal Company. That game is so fun and so hilarious. Might literally be the funniest game of all time, and it is just too good. I don't know if people have been watching streams of it, but everybody streaming it has been my favorite thing to watch for the past, I don't know, several weeks or so since it's kind of gotten popular.
Yeah, strong comedy element there.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything on it. I've just heard a lot about it.
Okay. So the whole concept is that you're working for this dystopian company on a spaceship with all your friends, and you fly to different moons, and you go into these weird underground bases, and you're trying to find scrap. But it's a horror game, so there are these monsters, tons of I would say they're kind of SCP kind of inspired monsters that you have to kind of avoid as you're doing it. Oh my, I really can't explain it. But the whole game is hilarious, and it's also got really good horror element design. I don't know. You really need to see it. That's your homework.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. Lethal Company's Wonder Chef says Lethal Company best game to play with friends 2023. Sounds awesome. Johnny, have you played any Lethal Company?
No, I haven't, but I'm very curious now.
Me too, man. Johnny, what was your best game to play with friends this year?
Ark Survival Ascended was my favorite game to play with friends this year. And due to the fact that, that game got way better. The Unreal Engine 5 upgrade fixed everything. The ability to mark dinosaurs is beyond what was needed before, because how many times I've been in the middle of the jungle and I run across somebody else's dinosaur and you can't really see the words or who owns it and you think you might own it. That was very helpful, being able to find things. The water is scary as hell. Me and my kid have been playing this game together, and we haven't yet tried to go into the water fully yet, just because how terrifying the water in this game. Dude, not only is the water look like real life water with this new Unreal Engine 5 upgrade, there's freaking sea monsters, real life sea monsters, megalodons, plesiosauruses, chefsauruses, mosasauruses in the water while you're trying to figure out how to get materials from the water.
Jesus.
Me and him are sitting there trying to figure it out, and it's fun, man. It's fun. I haven't even got online yet to play with other people yet. We're going to get a server up and running pretty soon here. I'm excited.
Yeah.
This game is going to have... Oh, yeah, you guys are all invited, by the way, everybody who's watching this, everybody who's on here. If you guys want to join the server, we're going to get it up and running. can be a father and son server, but dude, let me tell you right now, this game, it's got potential, and I don't even care about Arc 2 anymore. I just want them to get this to get it better, make it better.
Well, there you go. Johnny Deals says Arc Survival Ascended. The next level are the expansion pack to Arc Survival Evolved. Best game to play 2023 with friends. Now, Drix.
I'm going with Diablo 4 because I didn't even need my additional. I didn't even need my additional PS Plus subscription. You don't even usually need online service subscriptions because Blizzard kind of does that already with Battle.net.
Oh.
And it's actually, you know, when you're not working on building your absolute best build, and if you're not like specking out your stats, you can have a great time, and it's almost relaxing. It's almost like a lullaby before bed, like after a tough day of work, just crawling through dungeons and just, you know, by gently probing the ancient ruins, I mean bashing everything in sight and just smash and loot and destroy and get your seasonal characters together if you want a little bit of that time crunch flavor, but there's still a lot of playability in Diablo 4, and I still have such fond memories even with as far as 2 and 3 at, like, you know, land stations and stuff, gathering and making characters, building them up, getting the sickest gear possible, crawling through dungeons, and you know, not a bad story either. If you don't mind, you know, a little bit of blood and guts, a little bit of fucking demonic, you know, disembowelment, a lot of edgy themes, but you know, me and my crew that I roll with online, we're into that. So Diablo 4, that's what I like to play with my pals.
Hell yeah, Drix says Diablo 4, best game to play with friends 2023. All right, so for my money, this is going to be a little bit out there because this is not a game that you're going to be able to play with friends online. But my favorite game to play with friends this year, 2023, has got to be WarioWare Move It on the Nintendo Switch.
Ooh.
Listen, I don't know. You know, we got Chef talking about how Lethal Company is like this like funny horror multiplayer game. We got dungeon crawling. We got Ark Survival Evolved with Mosasauruses and amazing looking water. Listen, I don't care about any of that when I'm playing with friends. When I'm playing with friends, I just want to have fun. And I have not had more fun with friends all year in a room full of people trying to balance in a certain way or strike a specific pose or trying to literally use the Joy-Con to like shake out something from a jar onto you know, or like literally drop your Joy-Con. You need the wrist strap for WarioWare. You gotta drop your Joy-Con to feed the bird as it flies by. So the game registers that you dropped the bird seed on the bird. You know, like, there's just so many funny laugh out loud moments that just happen in the pursuit of trying to get these micro games going. And anybody who has a Switch and has friends to play with locally, you got to try WarioWare Move It on the Switch. It's 1 to 4 players. The story mode is fully co-op. It's fully 2-player co-op. It's a great time if you have any sort of local like friend group. It's a great game to bring to parties. Like, WarioWare Move It on the Nintendo Switch, my favorite game to play with friends 2023. Go pick it up if you want to have a game that may not be expected, but really delivers when you have a lot of people playing it.
Yeah, unlike a lot of games this year, it really gives you that element of like slapstick physical comedy if you're playing in the same room and not online.
Wario continues to push the limits of Nintendo hardware.
I do have to say I disagree with one thing. You said it wasn't expected. When has there ever been a bad WarioWare game? They're all peak gaming.
He's right.
How would you not expect that any WarioWare is good? But also, I kind of feel like the Switch was made for WarioWare, right? Like, I mean, all the original like stuff that they released to kind of show off what the Switch can do, like 1, 2, 3 Switch. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Like it's just basically like WarioWare Mini, right?
So it's funny you say that, Chef. That's another reason why I like WarioWare, because it actually does show off what the Nintendo Switch can do, the capabilities of the controller of the Nintendo Switch. Because straight up, dude, like there's an IR camera on your Joy-Cons. I think it's on the right-hand Joy-Con controller. There are so many games that use mini games that use that IR camera, and they're simple, like hold up how many fingers are on a confection for a cake, or like hold out, stop, like plug the bottle at this many items and you put it on the IR camera, so so it stops, so you put a cork on it. Like, it's so fun, it's so cool, it's so interactive. And like Drix was saying, there are so many moments of physical laugh out loud humor that you just don't get when you're playing online. There is, you have those moments. I'm sure you have moments in like games where things just like absolutely go awry. I remember the finals not too long ago, where you could be playing the finals and you could be securing the bag, and then all of a sudden, holy shit, the ground gets blown out from under you. That's pretty funny. You know what I mean?
That game was fun, dude. I love that game.
It was pretty crazy.
I can't wait for it to come out. Man. That's a good shooter. It's gonna be a good one.
I was going to debate it too. That's sick. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's gonna be sweet. But WarioWare, that's my game. I loved playing it with friends this year. 2023. If you got friends that you can play with, link up in real life, play some WarioWare. It's a great time. Now, we're gonna move on to our next big category, and that category is the best game to buy on sale. Now, let's clarify here. This doesn't mean the game is lacking in any sort of quality or any... Chef said it the best earlier. It's so hard to choose any sort of standout this year that stands above the rest because there are so many heavy hitters. But I think we all have a couple of games that we ran out and grabbed that we were just like, you know what? Maybe I should have got Resident Evil 4 Remake instead. So, we're going to start off with you, Chef. What do you think was the best game to buy on sale 2023?
All right, well, let's be honest. We could also name this category "Best Game to Just Play on Game Pass." I think that's really, really similar, and that's kind of realistic right now. So mine is Best Game to Play on Game Pass right now, and maybe not pay full price until you pay it. But we're going back to the start of the show because it's Starfield for me. I think Starfield. Okay. I mean, I could honestly do like a 2-hour rant on Starfield. I could do like a video essay on the pluses and minuses, but it does a lot of really cool things that I actually think a lot of other games have not really done, and it takes a lot of risks, but it also has a lot of nothingness, so paying a lot of money for it might feel disappointing, but if you can just pay it for free or a $5 Game Pass subscription, I feel like you eventually find what's good about the game, and then once you find what's good about the game, I think it was actually one of my favorite games of the year, which is, I know, a weird and wild take, but it took a long time to get there for me.
I actually don't disagree.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one, bro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just good games to show up day one on Game Pass.
Yeah, I think I definitely believe... I like Starfield a lot. For context, Starfield isn't pretty much on any of my nominee lists, so I'll just talk about it here since I'll segue into it. Starfield for me, it was a cool game, but I thought it was one of the more crunchier RPGs this year. It definitely was an RPG above anything else. You really needed to commit to what archetype you wanted to be from the jump. You kind of needed to go into it with a little bit of a plan. At least you needed to look at that like skill tree before, like, kind of intently before you make like a definitive choice on what you want to do. But there is a lot to love in that game. I just think I debated putting this as a category too. If there was the cut category of aggressively mid game of the year, was going to be my pick was going to be Starfield.
That's a good way to put it.
Because it was one of those things where, like, you know, this game does a lot of cool things, but not all of them are great. So
yeah,
what the
There's
kids
a
call
couple
it.
missions in there that are standouts, I would say, but that's about it. Like a handful, a dime or a dozen, compared to like Skyrim.
Yeah, there's definitely like, I mean, it's so hard to compare it to like any of the Elder Scrolls games because they have just so many good stuff. But
yeah,
I think there was a lot of good stuff. My issue was that there was a lot of nothingness. Like you can run into so many side quests that are literally just like fetch quests, and you can't tell which ones the good ones are until you've done them all. Which is there's just too many. Like the game is filled with too much stuff. So I feel like the game, it averages out as mid, but it's got really good stuff and really nothingness stuff. And I'm not going to spoil it, of course, for anybody out there who hasn't played it yet, but the way that the end of the game works and the entire like overarching story is super interesting and super risky and it's so hard to go into without spoiling.
Yeah, I don't want to.
That I've seen any other game do, so I think that's really adds a lot for me.
Yes.
Yeah, listen to Todd Howard's take on what an RPG is.
Agreed.
You know, we did some reporting on that, and yeah, the choices you make and how it affects the world and the role that you play.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen his interview he had with Lex Friedman talking about Starfield? You guys should check that out. I highly recommend it.
You got to check out the one where he talks to the guy from Insomniac. That's a lot more insightful when it comes to Starfield. But let's segue from Starfield. Johnny, what was the best game to buy on sale 2023?
Lies of P. And the reason why I'm going to say this is because the two games that came out this year that were Souls-like were that and Lords of the Fallen. And I'm kind of pissed off that I paid full price for Lords of the Fallen. But here's the thing: I would have rather paid the $40 I would have paid for Lords of the Fallen and paid it for Lies of P. But I got like Homeboy over here. I don't mean to steal your homework, but that too is on Game Pass.
Yep.
Wow.
But
yeah, worth checking out if you got it.
I would have had, dude. Honestly, that game gets off of Game Pass, and if they were to sell it for $25, it's perfect. You know what I mean? It's a perfect $25 game. Linear, the story's beautiful.
You gotta love the Eastern take on a classic, Western
like
folk tale.
Yeah,
European.
Those Koreans.
Yeah,
really
dude.
Pinocchio spin-off.
The P.
You did a good job.
The red P has means like a significance towards blood in Korean too, from what I understand.
Really?
Yeah.
That puts a whole different layer to it. That's crazy because that story, they did a really good job of following the original 1800 story, but it's just the way they did it in like a Souls fashion. It was very beautifully done. The world was awesome to look at. I remember in streaming, I had to stop looking at the world at some point to just keep playing the game. I kept looking around. I'm like, damn, look at I thought it was going to be lame. I didn't have big hopes for the game. I didn't like it at first because it was really, really freaking hard. But once you get that parry mechanic, man, it's fun, man.
Nice.
Yeah. Lies of P from Johnny. Best game to buy on sale this year, 2023. Check it out on Game Pass. Both Starfield and Lies of P on Game Pass. Check them out right now. Drix, what do you say is the best game to buy on sale 2023?
I'm gonna show my professional wrestling fandom allegiance here and go with AEW Fight Forever, because if you have any knowledge of any wrestlers in that game, you're gonna love the crap out of it. It's a good time, brings back arcade style sort of wrestling games, which we haven't seen. The WWE has taken a bit of a departure for that. I mean, as far as their executions are a bit more complicated. And I mean, the reason why I'm really saying AEW Fight Forever is because, for a company that does a weekly show called Collision, they could have done a little better on the collision detection. But at the same time, if you're a fan of any one of those wrestlers or their stories, or if you follow along every week, you're gonna absolutely love AEW Fight Forever. And you might even consider getting the season pass for like all the new characters and stuff. But yeah, great game to pick up on sale if you can, or if they put out a Game of the Year edition or a collector's edition that comes with just about everything, you're going to want to pick that up at a decent price. But, you know, you might not want to pay like a whole $60 for it.
All right. Well, AEW Fight Forever, Drix says it's the best game to get on sale for 2023. You know what, Drix? You're probably right. That is probably one of the better games to get on sale. I totally forgot about that game.
That's the best game to get drunk while on sale.
All right, so for my money, okay, here's maybe controversial. It doesn't really speak anything to the quality of the game, but I gotta say, Mortal Kombat 1. And really only because, guys, this game's expensive.
Ooh.
You got the
bit
game,
of a high roller.
You got this game. It's like $70, and then you got the season pass for like what, 5 characters? It's like $40.
They Lords of Fallen, dude.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Chef seems to think that this fucking game is buggy as hell. Like, I don't know. I played it on console, so like, it is what it is. But
yeah, I thought he was gonna say the Switch version.
It's a nightmare on the Switch, dude.
Yeah, a lot of funny visuals coming out of the Switch version of that game. Try not to get anything too graphically intensive for your Switch.
I would not suggest buying Mortal Kombat 1 on your Switch, but I would suggest buying Mortal Kombat. Buy Mortal Kombat 1. It's really, really cool. It's just and there's a lot of characters on the roster already. It's just for and then, you know, they have these seasonal fatalities and they're like $5 a pop. Like, you know, there's a lot of
Sorry, they're more than that. I just got to point that out. That's a big topic right now, is that they're monetizing everything really heavily. So like for a while, I think they did actually change it. Maybe it's $5 a pop now, but they were doing like almost $20 for the fatalities, and skins are over $10 in a game that's already costs $80.
$80,
so
yeah.
Plus, you know,
That offended me, man.
Yeah. Nickel and diming you.
No, not nickel and dime. It's like ones and fiving you. You know, like you're going up to paper money at that point. They've forgotten what change looks like, I think.
Damn. See, so again, Mortal Kombat 1, sick game, fucking awesome game. You gotta love the game. It's a sweet game. But if you want anything in this game, you're gonna have to shell out some cash. So that's the reason why I say, if you could get the base game on sale, get it on sale.
Absolutely.
Is Sonya played in that game?
As an assist. As an assist only, not a playable character.
Ah, man. I don't know, man. That was one of the things I didn't like about the game I first saw. I was like, is she in the game? I saw that she was an assist, but I'm like, is she in the game? And then I see she's not, and I'm like, how are you going to have a Mortal Kombat game without Sonya Blade?
Yeah, and call it Mortal Kombat 1 and without, you know, some of the characters from the first game. It's like, is it even really the prequel you think it is?
Who's Johnny swooning for the whole tournament? That's what I want to know.
Johnny Cage.
Every female character is the answer. But that's Johnny.
Can you guess who I played as a kid? Not Sonya Blade.
Gee, Johnny, I might have a thought or two.
Cage is my man, dude.
But hey, you know what? Before we get into any more of our Game of the Year discussion, our end of the year gaming discussions, Drix, what are we rocking out to right now?
We're listening to some Armored Core OST. I think this is from 4 Answer, a song called Artificial Sky 4.
Artificial Sky 4, CFM Radio. We are live. We'll be back.
Right. Starlight, say goodnight. Starlight, I hear you calling. Fire, a fire that filled the night. Fire that warmed and brightened my guiding my heart, my beacon, and my home. A sky of scattered tears, 1,000 years apart. Should they fade, I will not be afraid of the dark. For your flame still burns inside me, deep within my heart, showing me a new tomorrow, never too far. And when I cannot bear the pain, I'll look up to the sky and pray that though our night is over, you shall always remain forever, my treasure, my star.
We just listened to My Star off of Final Fantasy 16, one of my favorite tracks off of that one.
Oh yeah, nice competition for OST of the year.
It really is. It really, really is. But right now, we are going to sound off on our surprise hit of the year. Surprise hit of the year. A game that you picked up and you were like, you know what, not too expecting too much, or maybe you had solid expectations of it and it just blew them out of the water. Either way. So, well, let's start off with Chef. Chef, what was your surprise hit of the year?
I'm already going repeat answers, but definitely mine has to be Lethal Company. And To be honest, even I don't really like play it, but like just watching it, it is huge. I mean, this is a $10 game with like low quality graphics that look great, by the way, and it's just made by like one person, and it's currently like the 6th highest viewed, like as we are doing
Holy
this currently
shit.
right now, like game on Steam, because it is just so, I can't even explain it. It's like a social explosion. So I mean, I don't think anybody expected it. Nobody was looking at this game and being like, well, maybe this will be the next big thing, but it's become the next, Among Us, but I think cooler, just on a personal opinion. So that's my vote.
All right. Lethal Company, take it. Chefs handed them out to Lethal Company today. They're Lethal Company looking at it. Sven Vinky out of the golden joysticks from Chef. Next one.
Hey.
Next one. Johnny, what was your surprise hit of this year?
I'm gonna have to say Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty with the DLC and the package included. That game.
All right.
Holy shit, that's a different game now, dude. The game is. I played it on release, day one, on the PS4, and then the PC. No difference. Waited till now on the PS5, and for the DLC. Idris Elba is a beautiful man. In full Unreal Engine. It's the guy, dude. It's crazy. That game is. You want a good shooter with a good story with a lot of RPG, like tactical background. If you do this, you'll have your gun. You'll be able to hit the guy a little bit harder kind of tactics. The game's right for you, bro. And you save the president.
New America, right?
New USA, baby. Yep. And there's drones. And they have drones. The president has drones, but they didn't do too much for her, so. And she's a snidey lady. But she's cool. I like the president.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty has been taking home a lot of recognition from the whole industry lately. It's like it's a whole different game. I still haven't checked it out myself, which is crappy, but I think I'm going to just grab the Ultimate Edition and call it a day. Like,
Yeah, same.
I think it's another
It's a
good
fun one.
on sale option,
Yes.
because especially because the game itself is really old. I actually just got the base game on sale like 2 weeks ago, because everybody was saying like, oh, it's so much better now. So yeah, I feel like that one fits in a lot of them, right?
yeah, there you go. Yeah, best game to get on sale. Like, if we're going to throw in Phantom Liberty to get on sale, because I think if you get like the whole bundle, it's technically on sale. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep,
a lot
cheaper
of
than
people
when it
do
first
buy
came out.
first time around. So I mean, they could have a carryover in their, they could just have it chilling in their library from 2 or 3 years ago.
absolutely.
Yeah, even the base game was improved with the release of the DLC.
I love the base game. So Cyberpunk 2077 with Phantom Liberty is Johnny's surprise hit of the year. Took him by surprise. Had no faith. But
No,
then
that was not whatsoever. Even Keanu Reeves looks better.
even Keanu is
Or
better.
fuck.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, Drix. What was your surprise hit of the year? What took you by surprise?
It might be a little different if I splurged more on some indie games on sale. Like I think the Warhammer 40K bolt gun was a runner-up for me anyway, or at least an honorable mention. But I'm gonna go with Bomb Rush Cyberpunk because yeah, I was following it before release. I was kind of riding the hype train before that came out, but I'm seeing a pretty dedicated fan base online of people who are still like unlocking secret characters. They're still like trying to get all the like cosmetic upgrades. They're still trying to land that like jump to get that secret item. And as far as platforming goes, it's a good time. I'm still listening to the soundtrack, even if I'm just still surprised by the soundtrack alone when it comes up in my car. Like, I am still getting down to that bad boy, and I gotta give it up for a game with like style, because not a lot of other IPs are really going for that cell shaded look, and it definitely sold me. I'm still trying to circle back to that one amidst all the other meaty games that I'm trying to play in 2023. But yeah, for me, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is an indie game that could and did.
Nice.
Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, Drix's surprise hit of the year, totally blew him away. Went in with high expectations. He believes they crushed him. 2023 surprise hit of the year. For my money, surprise hit of the year 2023 has to be Age of Wonders 4. Age of Wonders 4, 4X strategy game, kind of released under the radar. It got sandwiched in between a couple of games, and it had a good amount of fanfare when it came out, but it still didn't seem to get a lot of traction. It's had 2 expansion releases since its official release, and I gotta tell you, if you like 4X strategy games, this is probably like one of the biggest, most significant steps forward in the genre. Mainly for accessibility reasons, and like because you've never been able to create a faction in such an in-depth way like you can in Age of Wonders 4. Like, you choose right down to their cosmetic appearance, right down to you can put in a custom title for your ruler. Like, you know, like you choose from like a few core cultures, like feudal, dark, naturalists, or like chosen, like order, like holy style, like, you know, there's an alignment system in the game. So like there's a lot going on in Age of Wonders 4 so you still have the meaty 4X gameplay with balancing a lot of systems, making forging alliances, making big sprawling city states, but it's all very tailored to you and how you want to play. Even right down, you could even have it so that your monarch is not the same race as your people. So like it's really, really, really fun. And then on top of it, it's a lot more faster paced than 4X games. You know, you think most 4X games, you know, you play a 4X strategy game, you think, damn, I'm gonna be here all goddamn day. Like, I gotta set a day aside because I'm gonna play some Civ with like actual real people, so I'm gonna be here for like 8 hours. No, this game, everything happens pretty fast. You climb up the tech tree relatively quickly, and then on top of it, as you're playing, everything is balanced towards you. You choose your own kinds of magic from a bunch of different kinds of magic tomes. Everything from shooting fire to controlling the dead to using raw arcane magic itself. You can do anything in Age of Wonders 4. So that's my surprise hit of the year. It swept me off my feet. You know, it's...
I can't interrupt you, but is that game made by a Paradox?
Yep. It's a Paradox game.
Yeah, I'm playing it.
Yep, it's a Paradox game. The Age of
I'm
Wonders...
looking it up right now. It looks tight.
Yep, Age
Sorry,
of Wonders 4. What my surprise hit of the year. That's where I'm gonna leave it. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should really try it, especially if you're a 4X fan. Even if you're not a big into 4X fan, but you've always been curious about the genre, this is a great entry point.
Nice. Yeah, not as complex as like Crusader Kings or Hearts of Iron.
It kind of is. It just keeps it fast paced, so you don't get lost in the weeds.
Like a fast stroke.
Yes.
Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, that sounds like up my alley. That sounds awesome.
I love it.
And the nice thing is that you know that if it's a Paradox game, then it's going to get a bunch of expansions as well. So you can just wait for those two to come out eventually.
Good.
And you know, those expansions are awesome. The first expansion for Age of Wonders 4 introduces a whole new type of monarch where your monarch can be a dragon.
That's cool.
It was really, really awesome.
Paradox makes, like, I haven't really found any bad games from those guys. And if I didn't like it, it was just too complicated and it wasn't for me.
Very true. But we're moving on to the next category. It is Story of the Year. Story of the Year. It could be a video game story. It could be a news story. It could be anything to do with gaming this year. So, Story of the Year. Fellas, Drix, Johnny, but most importantly, starting off with Chef, what was your story of the year?
Story of the year. I thought we were just doing video game story of the year, so I misunderstood my assignment here.
It
But
could be. That's also a good. There's plenty of good video game stories this year, dude. Like,
nah, you know what? I'm gonna combine them. I think my story of the year is partially part of the story of the year, which is, like you said at the start of the show, I think is the age of RPGs, and not just like RPGs returning, but like we realize that there's like a really, really big market for like the nerdiest type of RPG, which is Baldur's Gate 3, allowing people to kind of show that off, which also I think probably was my vote for story of the year as a game. So the combination of both of those, I think that it really sets us up for like future years where now a bunch of games that maybe you know, like what if you went to a company and you were like, I want to make this D&D based game, or you know, this tabletop looking game, and people would have been like, no, that doesn't sell. But now for the next decade, people are gonna be like, Baldur's Gate 3, yeah, we would love to make something like that.
Dude, D&D is now in the lexicon. Have you guys seen that Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out?
Was not a fan, but
They
yes.
mentioned Baldur's Gate, like left and right in them, because they go to Baldur's Gate and they go to Everwinter too. But like, dude, Dungeons and Dragons is hot. Like, it's the hottest it's ever been, dude.
Yeah, there's my cousin's playing with his nieces right now. He's getting the kids into it young. They got to be like tweens, and he had to DM for them. He picked up the Dungeon Master's Guide, and yeah, the youth. Let's get them using their imagination.
Hey, you know
My kid
what?
loves them, man.
Hey, you know what? D&D isn't my favorite tabletop RPG, but I am a DM for hire. Been doing it for years, so I gotta give credit where credit is due. D&D is great, and I gotta say, I 100% agree with you, Chef. The year has set the stage for amazing RPGs and RPG concepts to come to follow it in the coming years. So I can't wait to see like the next big Pathfinder game that has like a big huge budget. I can't wait to see any of these other, like, could we actually get a real GURPS RPG? Could we get a real like a big budget Shadowrun RPG? Could we get
Dude.
you know, like,
Yeah.
can we get a real
Give
one
me
of
a Final
those?
Fantasy like this. Give me a Final Fantasy built in this vein. I'll be happy.
Final Fantasy 14 is giving itself a tabletop RPG, which I can't wait to play.
Really?
So, yes. So
Heard it first right here on CFM.
that, there we go. So, all right, so that's Chef's story of the year, and I think that's a great story of the year. The story of RPGs in 2023. Now, Johnny, I know you got a pick for story of the year. What is it?
I was gonna pick a game, but now that I know the true what we're doing here at the assignment, I'm gonna say I was one of the first guys to break it in the crew here, but I'm gonna tell the story of John Riccatello and Unity.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yep.
That story alone turned thoughts and prayers into the CEO video game trash talk YouTube channel it is now. Because we literally I turned to just talking bad about CEOs. But dude, for real though, that had to be the biggest story in my opinion, just because, dude, a good portion of the industry was affected and on an edge, because there's so many people, like, for crying out loud, I love the game Rust, and the developers of Rust 2 were just like, dude, we're just gonna stop making Rust 2 and start over in Unreal Engine. Do you know how freaking insane that is for someone to say that, dude? That's crazy. You were causing developers to literally question if they're going to stay open or if they're going to be able to break even at the end of the year. That's messed up, man. And like I said before in my thoughts and prayers, we need to stand up for shit like that, man. We need to make sure that we protect the developers. They put in from the publishers too, by the way, and also from the CEOs that run those damn companies. Because the thing is, we all, at the end of the day, I know they're there for money, but we're here to have fun, bro. And I want to have fun. I don't want to be sitting there be nickel and dime and have the developers nickel and dime and close down because someone wants to get a cash grab at the end of the day. That's my thoughts and prayers.
Amen to that, brother.
Amen. Yeah. Story of Unity is quite a sad one.
Someone had to say it.
Yeah.
There you go.
No,
I
that
think
platform is
actually-
gone.
Yeah,
Goodbye,
I think it
John
actually turned out
Riccitiello.
pretty
Goodbye.
decently well, right? Like, if it got any worse or any better, and I feel like it hit that perfect middle mark where it's like people are gonna like look at other engines now and like let's be honest, like Unity, yeah, it's like easy to teach. That's why they teach in a lot of school classes. But like, it kind of was time for it to go anyway, just as like an engine, and. Now, like, people are going to look at other engines. They're going to look at, like, you know, really what they're using. It was just enough of a scare to, I feel like, move things in a good direction. Obviously, it's not good that it happened, but I feel like we got to be happy that it turned out the way that it did.
Yeah, a little bit of a blessing in disguise.
I think so too. You know, Unity is a great engine, but a lot of people like to try to like just slap shit onto Unity and make it play anything. You know what I mean?
Some
It's
of the
good.
best PC games I've played in the past 10 years were from Unity. And I'm gonna tell you, man, Unity has been a very, very important
Yeah.
tool for the indie development scene. And I personally would not believe we would have the indie development scene where it's at if it wasn't for Unity and where it showed up at the time it did.
Oh, I totally agree, and its impact has, and the impact its business model has had on game development is undeniable. Like, you know, you have Unreal that you can use for free right now. There's a lot of game engines like that. Game Maker Studio went from like having a barrier of entry to being free to use. You know, and I mean, there's a lot of good things that came from Unity and the advent of Unity, but I think Chef is right too, and it was time for Unity to kind of shudder because Unity was spread thin, let's be real, and Unity is great for a lot of things, but it's not great for everything, and I think it is good to see all these different engines getting their time in the limelight because they are good at other things. Like, you know, Unreal's great at shooters. You know, Godot can be used for amazing platformers. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different engines that can be used in a lot of creative ways. So I think that's another one of those things, much like how Baldur's Gate 3 is opening the door for the mind share of RPGs. I think this is opening up the mind share for game development, and I think that's awesome. So yeah, the story of Unity. That's Johnny's story of the year 2023. Drix, how about you? What's your story of the year?
Well, here on CFM Radio, I think we did a lot of solid journalism and reporting on Microsoft eating ActiBliz versus the FTC, because I know I'm personally a fan of seeing how, you know, state powers interact with corporations and stuff. And man, we almost had to get like a lawyer to interpret our shows so that we could read through those notes, and that was a lot of excitement. But
folks, if you're
for
listening,
me,
we really tried to find somebody.
We really did. We were like, man, do you know any lawyers? Do you know anybody who went to law school who could maybe interpret some of this legalese? But another story that takes my heart is Armored Core 6, because even as of last night, I am still going through my second playthrough of Armored Core 6, and I feel like it's really unique in its cold and emotionless sort of storytelling methods, and how you don't really see any of the characters, you just get their emblems and their voice lines, and they're so compelling that the entire internet started to just, every artist on the internet just decided to start drawing these characters, since you never see them throughout the game. But I don't know, it's going to live on in my heart for a while. Armored Core 6, you might hear some more about that game from me later. But yeah, big news story though. Microsoft, ActiBliz versus FTC. Most journalism I've done in a while.
Hell yeah, that was a wild ride too. We really nailed that to hell on CFM. And you know what? I do love me I've beaten Armored Core 6 twice. I'm on my third playthrough, and I do love the story of Armored Core 6. It's great. I love that. The drama is fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, there's no right or wrong answers there. They're just choices that have consequences, and you gotta live with it.
Absolutely. Armored Core 6 and the story of ActiBliz being absorbed by Microsoft. Drix's stories of the year 2023. And you know what, guys, when it comes down to me, story of the year, I got it. It's not a news story. All the news stories have been talked to already to death. But I have to say, Final Fantasy 16 had a great story. That I think I will say with confidence that Final Fantasy 16 is probably the best written game this year. It might like take people back a minute. Oh man, JRPG has good, might be blah 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 blah. Like I know JRPGs are known for being like tropey, but Final Fantasy 16 does a really really good job of really bringing you into the characters and how they work and how they operate. You can really tell Yoshi P when he was describing what they were doing and how they were making the game. He referenced a lot of Game of Thrones. You can really tell it really that nature really shines through, like the multi-empire conflict narrative that coalesces in the story of the crystals and how your familiar summons are used and how they're integrated into this world. It all really works, and it really draws you in to make the juxtaposition that is in the gameplay of this grounded action-based combat system, like grounded anime action-based combat system, transitioning into, for your bigger moments and your more dramatic moments, into these giant kaiju battles. Like that, really, the game does a really good job of setting itself up to present those to you in a cohesive way to make you feel like those battles are accenting the story behind them rather than just being a set piece for them. So it's a really, the ending is hit or miss. I know I liked it. I know a lot of people who didn't. But for my money, Final Fantasy 16, if you want a good story in your video game this year, you can play that one. It's probably the best one.
Yeah, how else are you going to tie Game of Thrones into kaiju battles?
Put your PlayStation on its side when you play that game because it will run it hot.
It does. It definitely runs it hot.
It's probably the best looking, the most graphically intensive game on that system. And I played a lot of games, and I'm telling you now, that game, like, it has diarrhea Christmas lights on 11.
It looks really good, though.
It does. It does. It does. There's times though I feel like I'm like, God damn, like, it's just so much light. I'm like, what is going on? But it's pretty.
I loved Final Fantasy. There were so many moments in Final Fantasy 16, even like the stupid little side quests. They're a little fetch questy. The side quests weren't fantastic, but the little stories in them were really satisfying at how they concluded. And that game is just very well crafted. Had a great story. All the stories in it are fantastic. Final Fantasy 16 is my story of the year.
Yeah, always good writing coming from Square Enix when it comes to their flagship RPG, which is.
Not always, but
Not always, dude. Yeah.
Not always.
Yeah.
But
I was
this
got a
time,
decent one this time. Sorry.
no, it's cool. This time was really, really good. And before we go to break, we've got a couple of new releases we want to talk about. There's not a lot on the docket, but we got to keep up with the news. The first new release coming out. Both of these releases are coming out tomorrow. Big hitters for December 7th. The first one is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora from the official website. Quote, abducted by the human militaristic corporation known as the RDA, you, a Na'vi, were trained and molded to serve their purpose. 15 years later, you are free, but find yourself a stranger in your birthplace. Reconnect with your lost heritage, discover what it truly means to be Na'vi, and join the other clans to protect Pandora from the RDA. And this game has been getting some great reviews, so it looks like you're going to want to consider picking this one up if you're already done with everything else this year. But there's a lot to play.
Nice. Na'vi time.
Na'vi time. But hey, you know what? If you're not into the world of James Cameron and his blue people, we've got a little bit, we got something else for you. Next up, we've got Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader from the official website. quote, set in the Coronis expanse, a little charted and perilous region of space, the backwater sector is rife with opportunities for explorers and adventurers alike. As a rogue trader, you will traverse incredible distances in your giant void ship as you chart this cluster of planets. And you know, this is the first CRPG set in the Warhammer 40k universe. So if the high fantasy of Baldur's Gate 3 and its dragons and dungeons aren't your thing, this sci-fi flavor might be your thing.
This one's one I'm really excited about, actually. I have been looking forward to this game for quite a while because I felt like it was a really good type of game for Warhammer, but as any Warhammer fans or Games Workshop fans know, there are like 20 just garbageware games released for the IPs for every one real game, and there are really good games for Games Workshop games, but I'm just like really worried that this might, you know, anytime you look at a Games Workshop game, you're like, all right, well, we just gotta, you gotta wait to
write it out.
Pass judgment, but it looks sick. It looks sick.
It does. And you know what? With Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 being pushed to next year, this is pretty much what we're banking on as 40k fans.
Yeah, and it was a tabletop game first, right?
Yeah, Rogue Trader tabletop has been around for like 20 years.
Yeah, no, good one. Always wanted to try that one out, and definitely love the universe and the storytelling and the grim dark.
The grim darkness of the 41st millennium.
It looks intense, bro. The lore behind that whole thing looks so intense.
Fuck yeah, because it is. And you know what? Those are our new releases. Again, tomorrow has a couple of heavy hitters. But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to finish up with our rewards. But for now, Johnny, what do we got playing right now? We got some jamming.
Oh yeah, this song is called Trinitron from Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Oh, hell yeah. I love the Trinitron.
Johnny, yeah. where can we watch your streams and stuff?
You can check me out on twitch.tv/Johnny Deals, all lowercase. I'm also on Kick these days. Just check me out on Kick, Johnny Deals, lowercase, all lowercase. Yeah, and then of course Thoughts and Prayers on YouTube. You know how that goes. But anywho, this is Johnny Deals, and you're listening to CFM Radio. About to get intense with the disappointment part.
Yeah, every day I do this, never fear losing. And when I get up in the game, y'all be improving. A real problem, but I solve them all facts proof. And if you think I'm gon' fold, then you talking fool. Yeah, y'all wanna win, let me spin, boy. All dunks aside, I'm super fly like I'm hanging off the rim, boy. I've been winning for my kinfolk, and I put on for my city from the intro. Let's go.
I put that time in, my pride is out the roof, I get that grind in. So I'ma tell the truth, I get my grind on. You know the pressure make all of these diamonds. I tell them get back, step back, fast track, big lap, big facts. I'm past that, yeah. I'm trying to get ahead, get out the way. Now move forward, stand back, now break away. I'm about to bring it. I ain't never backing down. Took a step up to the plate. From a city, from a town. I do whatever it takes. I'ma go and get this round. I'ma go all of the round. See the sights, yeah. myself and moving up these mountains. Crossing over, passing bound, for the time to count and keep score. Breaking barriers I never thought I'd cross before. When I get tired on my knees, I gotta digging in deep. I feel like I'm all alone, it really has got me. I stand by, actions out with the window. Goodbyes, if you just stood again. Yeah, let's go. How about it, I'm scheming, ride around and I'm dreaming. Once I get the feeling, nobody can stop me. Hit it, I'm on goal, fitting all you foes. Once I'm on the road, I'm knocking out of the door. I got the range, if you wanna come and stand up to me, pull up on me now. If you wanna challenge, tell me, rookie, run up on me now. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back. I'm on the road to the top and I'm not looking back. I ain't never backing down, come and step up to the plate. For my city, for my town, I'll do whatever it takes. I'ma go and get the crown, I'ma go all up and round. I ain't never backing down, come and step up to the plate. For my city, for my town, I'll do whatever it takes. I'ma go and get the crown, to the top, see the sights, see the sights, see the sights, yeah.
That was a song called Not on the Sidelines from the Street Fighter 6 original soundtrack. And I gotta love the hip hop influence that they included in that latest iteration. Good stuff, good tracks, good raps.
Hell yeah, one of the best OSTs of this year, and that is one of our categories. But first, we're gonna start things off with a little bit of a downer, but we're gonna get it out of the way. Because this is our biggest disappointments of the year. I don't know what it was. There were some games that they had a lot of hype behind them, tons of it, but they just could not deliver. And these are the ones that we think fit that bill. Chef, what was your biggest disappointment this year?
Boy, oh boy, I have one that I feel very strongly about, and it's a tough one. I think the reason why I'm so disappointed in it is because I like it so much, and it's Mortal Kombat 1, which is rough to say. For anybody who doesn't know out there, viewing, listening, I am a Mortal Kombat commentator. I also am in the credits for one of the Mortal Kombats for being, they flew me out to balance it there. So I have a lot of investment in Mortal Kombat is basically what I'm trying to say. Been in that scene for a long time. Gameplay for Mortal Kombat 1, amazing. One of the most fun fighting games I've played in a long time. But as far as the actual package of the game, it is, like you mentioned before, extremely expensive. It has tons of microtransactions that are very expensive themselves. And the actual features of the game are kind of whack, unfortunately. I mean, obviously for fighting games, you really want to have good gameplay, and it's got it, but I mean, the single player content I think was kind of repetitive and boring. The story mode was good. We were expecting that from them, but there's a lot of like features that just aren't in the game. They announced it with crossplay, and a week before it came out, they took all mention of crossplay anywhere, and so they kind of threw people for a loop. There are features in the game that are just sitting there, and they're just saying coming soon, that are basic features that they've had in every game for the past, I don't know, 10 years. And on top of it, this has been a great year for fighting games. You know, Street Fighter 6, we just heard the song, amazing package of a game. Whether you like the actual gameplay or not, the package of the game itself, I'd like. The soundtrack's great, all of the online features are great, the single player is great, just everything. So for Mortal Kombat to come out being so expensive as it was, backed by such a big company and missing so many features, and also having really bad ports, like we said, the Switch version, the PC version, all that together, unfortunately, it pains me, but Mortal Kombat 1 is my disappointment of the year.
No one is safe from bad ports and nickel and like you said, ones and fiving you. Like, geez.
Yeah.
Like
inflation. Nothing
is safe. You know, and I gotta say, it is really sad to see Mortal Kombat go in such a such a like a nickel and diming way. There's no other way to say it. Like, you know, they're just squeezing you for all your cash because you know that they are these basic features are going to be added very, very. They're not priority. I'll just say it like that. They're not priority.
They already got your money.
Yeah, they got your money. They also have your money for things like the characters that are coming out. So you're expecting those things. You know, those are priority. What's not priority is, you know, your single player your single player and online tournament functional tournament modes, your smooth crossplay, those aren't priority. Like we gotta get Omni-Man out there now. Like
Omni-Man's cool.
Omni-Man is cool. It's very cool. Like I said, there's a lot of cool things about the game. That's just what makes it hurt even more for me. Yeah.
Missed opportunities.
Did they get J.J. Jameson to do the voice of Omni-Man in the?
J.K. Simmons, he did do the voice.
But they didn't get Homelander though, even though he was open to it. They didn't get him.
Yeah, nobody's really sure why. They usually get the voice actors for all their guest characters. In 11, they didn't get Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they got everybody else to do the voices. So who knows?
I mean, Arnold is Arnold, so
it's hard to get me because I'm the governor.
The governor. All right, so Mortal Kombat 1, Chef's biggest disappointment of the year, and I could see why. He makes a lot of good points. That's a very good case for the biggest disappointment. Johnny, what is your biggest disappointment this year?
This is gonna conflict with what Ben said earlier on. Rick said about best game with friends, but I'm gonna say Diablo 4.
Yes.
I was hook, line, and sinker for this game, and I put about a good 60 hours into it. What ruined it for me was the community got really toxic. The YouTubers got really toxic. The developers, Blizzard, Activision got beyond toxic to the point where a couple weeks ago, if not, I think last week, they put out a questionnaire asking if it would be okay and if gamers would be open to paying $100 for DLC for Diablo 4 for a game that was already $70.
Yeah, it ain't right.
And then on top of that, the community just went from beautiful to toxic. People, I mean, I saw one dude blow up on YouTube, and now I actually feel bad for the guy. The guy is playing a game that nobody, I mean, people want to play, they don't want to play it. The people in the you know how it is, bro. If 30% of the people don't like the game, comments are going to be super duper toxic. It just bums me out, man. I had high hopes for the game. I felt bad for the developers. Developers look like they have a gun to their head every time they announce anything about the roadmap.
Shit.
Yeah, it's just a toxic ass environment for gaming right now, I think. And I even had my moderator on my Twitch channel. Bro, I don't want to watch this game, bro. I'm like, why? He's like, bro, I see people getting into fights on live other streams over this game, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Whoa.
Yeah, people getting into fights over it. Like they're like, I don't want to play this game. Or why are you using your build that way? Why you know what I mean? That kind of just bullshit, dude. You know, and I'm gonna tell you right now, 2023 has showed me the most toxic at all the video game communities, and I think it might be Diablo at the moment. And that's not bashing anybody who likes Diablo. I'm just saying, I expect more from the community, guys. Come on.
Yeah, play with your friends, not with internet randos.
Yeah, definitely the best game to play with friends.
Have a crew.
Know, I thought we liked video games, people. You know.
It's a game. Why are you so mad? I play games for fun.
I play games for fun.
Game.
It's just a game.
You give video game. Money gives you video game. The other way around.
All right, well, Diablo 4 taking home awards, but not all of them are great. The biggest disappointment, Johnny's biggest disappointment of the year. You know, we can't win them all on that one. Or you can win them all. They're just not all good. Yeah. Don't win all of them. You don't want to win them all. But
yeah, you got to let the bad takes flow through you like water. You know, you don't need to reply to every nasty comment from a hater.
Absolutely not. Anyway, that was Johnny's biggest disappointment, Diablo 4. Drix, what was your biggest disappointment of the year?
You know, I didn't get to play a lot of great things. This might be one of the games I didn't get to play, but I'm still supremely disappointed by, was Lord of the Rings Gollum. Because I love a bit of that fantasy, you know? I mean, the Lord of the Rings trilogy could be one of the greatest trilogies ever to be made in film. Like, we'll probably never see anything like that again. But then, to look at these graphics, to look at this gameplay, you know, to look at all the missed opportunities that Gollum could have been doing during the entire saga of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit you have so much lore to go off of in the Silmarillion and all this fantastic storytelling lore, and then game kind of slipped under the radar, kind of buggy, kind of ugly. Didn't even get around to spending a lot of time with it, but kind of disappointed by Gollum.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings Gollum don't even need to play it. You just need to look at it. It's kind of like that Walking Dead game.
Yeah, take it at face value and maybe play something else.
It could have been a cult. It could have been one of those cult classic games, dude. They really dropped the ball.
Yeah, easy to mess up a stealth game. I imagine.
I will say though, I'm glad it wasn't like a little bit better than it was, because then we would have just never heard about it. And instead, we did get to get some entertainment out of watching the clips from it. So it was just bad enough that I think it's good, in its own weird way. Not if you paid for it, but certainly if you didn't pay for it.
Yeah, some people know how to admire a good piece of trash for what it is.
Sorry if you paid for it, but
it's pretty good talk trash in the comments section of a Twitch stream behind a game.
Sorry if you paid for it, Lord of the Rings Gollum, but Drix's biggest disappointment of the year. I mean, presumably, if it was good enough, Drix would have paid money for it, but not anymore. All right, so now this is gonna be the one. Everybody, we started off this one with kind of a hot take, in Mortal Kombat 1 being a pretty big disappointment, biggest disappointment of the year. My biggest disappointment of the year might be considered hot take too, because it's The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh.
Now, listen.
This man woke up and chose violence.
Listen. I understand. Flaming dick robots, giant flying machines that bomb people. I understand.
Yeah.
I get
Lowriders.
Lowriders. I understand. I understand the social media aspect being a standout part of The Legend of Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom. But honestly, this game sucks. It's like the worst 3D Zelda game I've ever played. Like, hey, I hope you don't like combat in your Zelda game, because that shit's 10 FPS. Like, and I hope you don't like fighting challenging enemies, because they don't really do anything but take like 20 hits from every sword that you own to die. Like, and I really hope you didn't want a good story or fun dungeons. They're not here. Like, especially the Fire Temple. Jesus, mother of God. Talk about a poorly designed dungeon. Like, hey, thank God we can swim through walls in this game, or else I would have never completed that fucking dungeon. Like, at least the water temple might have just been floating platforms in the air, but at least I could see where the fuck I was supposed to go.
How is that even a water temple? That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Hey, don't worry
about
waterfall
it. Temple?
It was hey, listen, it was pretty bad. Again, if you're expecting cool, fun dungeons, not in this game. If I were to say, like, if I were to rank the 3D Zelda game dungeons, I don't think any dungeon from Tears of the Kingdom would crack like the top 10. Like, it nowhere near. I actually think some of those divine beasts are better, like, as dungeons than
some divine beasts. I like some of them.
Yeah, I did too, and I didn't like any of the dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom.
You know, I you know how I said I could go on like a 2-hour like video essay rant about like how my thoughts about Starfield? I feel like it's the same way for me with Tears of the Kingdom, but honestly, I hate to say it, I agree with you. It's like all bad for me. I loved Breath of the Wild personally for what it was.
Same.
And I think this was basically, they took the Breath of the Wild engine and like built a weird secondary game on top of it, and it wasn't it. I mean, okay, creating like your stuff was very fun. There was a lot of freedom in the game, which was cool. But first of all, the game was like a ridiculous grind. Like, if you wanted to finish everything, it was like the longest grind of all time, which should not be a Zelda thing. The story, like when you go around to each temple and you get each like person back, First of all, the story literally made negative sense compared to Breath of the Wild. It literally took things that we knew from Breath of the Wild and like just changed them or
For
made
no
them not
reason.
mean anything. It's not connected to Breath of the Wild. It literally is not connected to Breath of the Wild. It makes no sense to me. Like there's literally like an entire different storyline going on at the same time.
Yeah.
That contradicts it. It's so bizarre. The fact that they reuse the cutscenes when you get the sages. The fact that the abilities are tied to having these big shadow creatures blocking your vision because they follow you around like a party in a single player game.
Yeah,
you literally
right?
like can't see past them. I don't know. I thought that game, while it was still fun because it still had the base of Breath of the Wild underneath it, I thought that could have been my disappointment of the year. I'm basically agreeing with you.
Listen, bro, I don't know. Hey, I have never seen a game make such a good first impression only to shit the bed literally halfway through. Like literally, like, and like you said, it's a globe-trotting adventure where nothing fucking matters. It makes negative sense.
Dude, I saw one look at that FPS and had Violet and I had Violet and what was that? Whatever the last Pokemon game came. I had that in my head. I was like,
no,
dude.
those were great games. Hey, those are the new Vegas of Pokemon games. Honestly,
I would pay a PC player and watch him stream it and see how if he can handle it. Because it'd be hilarious to watch him get through that game.
At least Pokemon, you don't have action in it, right? Like at least Pokemon, it's like it's laggy, but we're
I
walking
had
around an
fun
overworld.
Pokemon.
But yeah, I agree. The FPS
was
is bad.
Tears of the Kingdom was just one of those games where I literally, I will say, I'll give credit where credit is due. It's the best Ganon fight we've had in like a decade.
Okay.
Like it's the like I don't think I've seen a cooler Ganon fight. You know, I played the Hyrule Warriors games. They're cool. You know, those are cool Ganon fights, but they're fucking Dynasty Warriors games. Like, you know, this game is a cool Zelda fight. I don't know why the Ganon fight runs at a steady FPS when I'm out in the middle of the fucking field fighting moblins and it game drops to 15 FPS. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And
it's the exact reason for Pokemon. I'm sorry, I just have to say it. It's because you're not in the overworld, and the overworld makes them both lag. But both of them have end games in underground in like the center of the map, which is really funny.
It's too big for the system. It's too big for that little ass system, bro.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if it's too big for that little ass system. Like
it is, bro. I'm looking at it, and I think honestly they should have just waited and gave it to the Switch 2. It would have been a better launch.
Listen. The Tears of the Kingdom, you could say what you want about it. You could love Zelda just for being fucking Zelda. That's like pretty much the defense that I hear. I like it because it's Zelda. It's the Star Wars defense. I like it because it's Star Wars. I mean, sweet, great, awesome. If you want to like fanboy out about your game, awesome. I love it too. I love that for you. But as a game, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is probably the worst 3D Zelda game I've ever played. It's the worst. You do not even want to buy this game when it's on sale. Because it's going to go on sale for fucking... It's a $70 game, Switch game. It's going to go on sale for fucking $40. Not even. No, that's a $60 game.
It's a Nintendo Switch game. It's never going to go on sale.
You're right. It's never going to go on sale. It's going to be $70 in perpetuity. So you're never going to want to pick it up unless you're like are a diehard Zelda game. This is... I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This is the Sword and Shield moment for Zelda for me as a franchise. I played this game, and when I was done with it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to pick up the next Zelda game.
Bro, I've seen divorce negotiations go smoother than that game.
On God. Like it's so gnarly. Anyway, I'm not gonna go. I've gone on long enough. It's fucking diatribe.
Hey, you go on all day about that game.
Dude, I don't want to. Listen, it's not worth it. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom isn't even worth the words that I'm putting out there, and I'm sad. It pains me to say that because I fucking love Zelda. I was looking forward to this game so much, and then all of a sudden, here it is. Fucking The Legend of Zelda, nuts and bolts. Like, what the fuck? Like,
throw Zelda into Unreal Engine already, guys, and just call it a day, man. Come on.
I mean, the
Japanese,
big thing for
man.
me...
Just use an engine, man. It's already built, man. Final Fantasy learned that the hard way.
I always say that I think in any media, the best type of sequel is one that makes the original work even better. I think that a good example of that is like
Last
wait,
of Us
no,
2.
actually- well, okay, I'll take your word for that. Actually, I've never played it, believe it or not, because I never played Last of Us 1. I just didn't have
Oh
the console at
shit!
the time.
Okay.
But one day, maybe I will. Anyway, regardless, that's the point. Is that this is the opposite of that. That was the big thing
Yeah.
for me, was that they took the story and they made so much of what made Breath of the Wild an amazing game, and they're like, yeah, that actually just didn't ever happen. And you're like, what?
Why?
What are you talking about? What? Or yeah, that's like, oh, it just didn't exist. I don't know. You're maybe in another world. I don't know. And you're like, why? I really love those characters. I wanted this to be a sequel, not a maybe not sequel.
No, you didn't. You didn't like those characters. Sorry, dude. Not even.
It's fan fiction at that point.
I'll double down on it. I'll double down on it, Chef. Fucking, this game takes literally everything that made Breath of the Wild good and inverts it, like, and takes all the bad parts of Breath of the Wild and like doubles down on them. It's like, hey, do you like fucking busy work in the overworld? There's like twice as much of it now. Do you like finding the same fucking Koroks in the same fucking areas? And like they're still there, and there's a couple of them. There's a couple of them that you need to make a vehicle for, and then you have to spend half an hour because the vehicle fucking falls apart halfway through, and then you get 2. Sweet. Like,
Okay, I have one more thing to say about it before I'm going to stop talking about it, because I also do feel like we've been talking for a long time.
Yeah, fuck this.
Okay, so I love game design, and I think that Breath of the Wild had some of the best puzzles of any game in a really long time. They were all genius, and there were these really cool ways to get around them, and 90% of the puzzles in this game were skippable because building was so broken that it's like, well, what if I just made a flying machine and flew past the puzzle? It's like, I don't, it's cool once, but I want to actually like think when I'm doing things in this game, and it just didn't happen like in Breath of the Wild. So anyway, that's what I was
so the final word I'll say on it, because this is literally the final word. The final words that I'm going to say on it. Do not, never, ever, 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 ever look at a game like Breath of the Wild and think that its open world was boring or meaningless or anything like that, because that game legitimately made you want to chase the horizon. In Tears of the Kingdom, it's like a mockery of chasing the horizon, that feeling that you got in Breath of the Wild, because you don't even want to chase the horizon anymore. You want to fucking make a flying machine and fly off into the distance so that you can fucking find some gotcha machine that gives you like a bunch of random fucking parts so that you can build a stupid robot and then stomp through this once amazing and really atmospheric landscape. So fuck Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That game sucks.
It's like Terminator 3 just existing and completely defeating the emotional nature of the ending of Terminator 2.
Literally.
I hate that movie, dude.
Literally. So, all right. So let's move on. Now we're going to talk from the worst to the best. This is the best original soundtrack in gaming this year. This year had a lot of good gaming soundtracks, a lot of great jams that you could groove to. Chef, let's start off with you. What were you grooving to this year? What was the best OST?
So God, this is actually like my hardest choice of the entire show. I've been thinking about this literally the entire time because there's just so many different options, and I think actually what I'm gonna go for is like a little bit off the path, but not like nobody's gonna say this, but I'm gonna go with Baldur's Gate 3 as well, because I think that there are a lot of really amazing soundtracks, but Baldur's Gate, they got the ability to, like, because of the game they were making, make this like really cool fantasy, like old-timey soundtrack, which is not something that you normally can get, and it's not something that you can just easily like have somebody who's amazing at making music sit down and just do with their own personal equipment. And so the fact that they were able to do that and it had a really, really good soundtrack that's like not the usual type of really good soundtrack, I think that's my vote.
Man, barred versions.
Fuck yeah. No, that's a great soundtrack. Johnny, how about you? What was the best OST? What were you jamming to this year?
I'm going to have to say hands down. I had actually the opposite effect of Chef here. Sorry, Chef. But Final Fantasy 16, the fits that go off in that battle theme. That battle theme plays over, at least my playthrough, it had to be 1,000 times. I did not get sick of that
Yeah, I mean,
track.
it was amazing.
One bit. The music was amazing. Masao, what's his name? Masayoshi Soken was responsible for the soundtrack for Final Fantasy XIV and all of its expansions when P took over. That soundtrack was phenomenal, and this kid, when he came in and did 16, he freaking spread his wings and he flew. I think the soundtrack was even better than the game, dog. Like, that was a damn good soundtrack. He put his 120% into that soundtrack. Dude, the fits, man. I mean, you ever seen a Final Fantasy soundtrack live at all? I would pay money to go see this one live, like, tomorrow. It's amazing, dude.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and echo what Johnny said. Final Fantasy 16 has got to be my OST of the year, too. They always deliver when it comes to music. Square Enix and their Final Fantasy flagships.
And they did it without Nobuo this time.
Yeah, it's emotionally moving. It's atmospheric. It makes you want to pick up classical instrument and learn how to read sheet music. Like, it's that
Fucking
good.
I want to play French horn now. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. Maybe it's Final Fantasy 16.
You know, even though it wasn't my pick, I'll be honest here, I didn't play 16 yet because I didn't want to pull out my PS5. But we can talk about that later. I will never ever vote against Soken. I can go on record I tweeted literally like 2 weeks ago. I said too early to explore space, too late to explore the world, but just in time to listen to the peak of Soken's work. I actually made that exact tweet because that dude is legitimately like a legend.
He's the future of Final Fantasy. Like, they're in good hands music-wise. They got to figure out that. If they figure out that engine and they get a new Sakaguchi in there, that'd be good.
Oh, fuck yeah, you're right. But hey, you know what? My pick for OST of the year, I'm gonna go a little bit off the beaten path and do a little bit of a sentimental pick, because all the tracks in this one just got my memories churning, because Super Mario RPG Remake probably has the best OST of the year, guys.
Ooh, yeah, that was going to be my honorable mention, too.
Like Super Mario RPG Remake, bro.
Pretty soundtrack, yeah.
All
Was
those.
there a Nobuo?
I don't know if he did the remake, but I think he did the original score. And honestly, guys, all those remixes, all of those remasterings, they're fantastic. You could hear the original tracks upscaled in like they're a little bit clearer, a little bit more HD on the game itself. But I think
made that one, by the way.
Yeah, I think
the Final Fantasy 15 lady and Kingdom Hearts lady made that soundtrack.
Oh yes, yeah, that's who did it. Oh hell yeah!
Wow.
So
yep.
Yeah. I'm on.
So I think that's probably. I think I probably switched it over to the original SNES one maybe twice during my whole playthrough, because just every track felt like correct.
Yeah, the instrumentation, the arrangement, the songs that needed synths got synths, and the songs that needed real like brass instruments and strings got real brass and strings. And it's like, especially if you're familiar with the original.
Pretty good about those too. Square's pretty good about when they do a new OST, like for 10 or for any of the Final Fantasies or any game they do. They're pretty good with. That's one thing they will always be good at, and that is music. And when it comes to like going from, like you said, synthesizer to going from brass to an actual French horn, they kill it on that end.
Yeah, the pixel remasters for the Final Fantasy games that came out over the last couple of years or so all have really, really good versions of the classic music.
They're really good.
Super good.
Dude, I played 5 with that soundtrack for 5 is so good, dude. The new one they redid for it, it's so good.
Yep, the Final Fantasy music rabbit hole.
Who would have thought? Would have been a Final Fantasy talk. Who would have thought?
Right. All right. Before we head out to our break, Chef, where can we find you on the internet?
You can't find me anywhere. If you do, then I'm not hiding well enough. No, I'm just kidding. EGP.
You're on the dark web.
Not even. That's too much publicity for me. No, I'm just kidding. EGP Wonder Chef everywhere. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. Mostly Twitter. I should stream more, but mostly Twitter. Yeah. So if anybody is interested in seeing me, EGP Wonder Chef.
EGP Wonder Chef. And Drix, what are we jamming out to right now?
Oh man, I couldn't talk about Final Fantasy for that long without hitting you with the classic Nobuo Uematsu track. This is Hunter's Chance from Final Fantasy IX.
Ooh, that's another good one that we didn't even get a chance to talk about. But anyway, so one more break. I'm excited for it. So we're going to go to that right now because this is Wonder Chef, and you're listening to CFM Radio.
It's the game of the year. You know, it's got to be special.
CFM Radio, we are back.
Man, we've had a great time tonight.
It's been a hell of a show, fellas.
Amen.
And you know what? It wouldn't be an awards show without the game of the year for everybody. So, game of the year, we've talked a lot about what we've loved about this year, the news, the emergence of RPGs, some of the best, some of the worst, some of the things that you might not want to pick up for full price, and so the things that surprised us. But what was the big standout for everybody? Chef, what was your big standout this year? Game of the year.
This may be the hardest year in history to choose a game of the year. I think that
I agree.
is not a super hot take, and I think that I'm going to be mad at myself no matter what I choose. So I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm going to continue my my three-peat here. I'm going to go with Lethal Company because, like I said, it's a $10 game by a single dev, and I really cannot explain it. I need you all, if any of you are not familiar with it, just go check it out. It is cool. It is funny. It is literally the funniest game I've ever played, but like not in a way where it's intentionally trying to be funny. It just ends up that way. I truly can't explain it, but that's my game of the year. Yeah, anything that blows up like that. It is seriously at like Among Us levels of peak popularity right now, and it is cool. It is very cool. So check it out.
Hell yeah, Chef, loving the Lethal Company. Hey, you know what, dude? I gotta check this game out. I'm gonna pick it up next time I can. Like,
yeah, same. Exactly.
Yeah, man. Lethal Company, Game of the Year for EGP Wonder Chef 2023. That's what's up. Lethal Company. Play it with your friends. Now, Johnny, We've had some big opinions tonight. Now here's where I want your biggest opinion. What is Game of the Year 2023?
Dude, Baldur's Gate 3. Hands down. Like, this has been the CRPG gaming year of my life. And it's because of that game. I never played any of the other ones, but now I'm an owner of 2 different Pathfinder games, Pillar of Eternity game, 1 or 2 of them. One of my new favorite games is Divinity Original Sin 2, which was the game they made before that. Before Baldur's Gate 3. And let me tell you something.
I love
you
me
have a
some
Switch,
CRPGs.
Exactly. If you have a Switch, you have $20. You have the time and the money. Buy that game. It is Baldur's Gate on the run. It's literally Baldur's Gate. It's literally just like, Oblivion to Skyrim. It is amazing. That game's amazing.
Oh,
but
nice.
back to Baldur's Gate 3. I know, like, a lot of you guys have had experience playing D&D. I was the nerd. I was the jock that was a nerd who was raised to be a jock, and I never got to be a nerd. And now that I'm in my older age, I get to be a nerd finally, and I get to finally experience all this stuff. Baldur's Gate was something I've wanted in my life for years, and I didn't even know it. Like, it is... I haven't even got past the second freaking act yet, dude, because I'm so freaking busy I've restarted 3 times.
God damn, John.
Wow.
I put
Reroll.
70 hours into that game, dude, and I've done 3 run-throughs already, and I haven't even got past it. It's amazing, dude, and I look forward to playing it in the years to come because it is that deep and rich of an RPG. Larian did the work of God this year and showed everyone how to make a goddamn video game and how to have fun again. That's what we did with this year with that game. We learned how to have fun again.
Hell yeah, it
There you go.
doesn't hurt that it's an indie game too, right?
Is it really an indie game?
They did everything themselves, bro. They just bought the license.
Mhm.
An indie game. Come on now.
Yeah,
they-
there was this
they
big
set
tweet.
up the make for them.
They made this big thing where people were saying oh, you guys should be doing better. You got they paid you Wizards of the Coast paid you to make this game. They're like, no, they did not. We paid them to make this game.
Yeah.
Which is sick. Yeah,
That's about it, bro.
it might be the most impressive game I've ever seen in my entire life. I can't lie. It's hard for that not to be my game of the year. My big reason I didn't choose it was because I don't think it's for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's easily the most impressive game I've probably ever seen in my entire life. Like the amount of just words and voice lines in that game alone is just like forget it.
And pure heart.
Story path.
Everyone should play it, dude, before they die. It's one of those games.
Yep,
like
I agree.
Skyrim or Half-Life.
It's like a New Vegas, like a Half-Life,
Ocarina.
yeah. Ocarina.
Like, we're going to be talking about this game for years.
Yep.
And I wasn't even surprised, but I wasn't surprised that people were liking the game. I was more surprised that, holy cow, it took everything by storm. Like, it just
True.
the world became bold for like a month or two there. It was crazy.
I loved it. Hey, Baldur's Gate Mania consumes us all. I love it too. And that is Johnny's Game of the Year, not pick
And that's
for
a horny fan fest
2023.
by there, too.
Oh yeah.
They love that community is a bunch of freaks, man.
Oh, hell
If you're
yeah.
in any of those forums, I warn you, you're going to see some stuff. Don't have the kids watch it. It's crazy.
Baldur's Gate 3 2023, Johnny Deal's Game of the Year. And now Drix, what is your Game of the Year 2023?
Yeah, I mean, objectively, I gotta echo Johnny on Baldur's Gate 3 as the Game of the Year. But my pick, personally, what has brought me the most joy and hours of good times and laughter and excitement is going to be Armored Core 6.
Nice.
Can't tell you, throughout the entire Dark Souls and Elden Ring saga, me and a few other close ones, we were just thinking, when are they going to make another robot game? Could they please make another robot game? I mean, all this dark fantasy stuff is great. And boy, I feel like they delivered. I'm still getting hours of joy and fun and laughter and, cold steel and pile bunkers. And right around, say like the middle of your second playthrough, you're about ready for PvP. And
Yes.
once you climb on the nest and start really exploring like the depth of like the builds, and your survival depends not only on your ability as a pilot, but what you leave your garage with. And yeah, I'm still stoked on that. I'm going to keep playing it. I know, there's a fan-made Rubicon Research Institute, and there's plenty of communities online that are still hosting, Armored Core 6 Rubicon fight clubs,
Hell
So, yeah, for me, it's going to be Armored Core 6 is my game of the year, and I'll be playing it well into next year, that's for sure.
As it should be from you.
Absolutely. I love Armored Core 6 too. I could say the same thing. I'll echo that, Drix. It's one of those things where, like, I love some Souls games, but I too was wondering when I could throw down in some mech combat, and I was really happy I was able to this year. It didn't make it quite onto any list for this discussion, but it's definitely one of those games that I think everybody should play this year. It just came out in a year that was just star-studded.
Yeah.
I think it has the issue too of it was very difficult, especially in release, and it still remains. I mean, obviously for real gamers that play a lot of video games, like you can beat it, but I think for a lot of the casual audience, it's like too tough. So people didn't really look at it as a game of the year potential because they didn't finish it. Like I'm sure like 5% of people actually finished it because it's pretty dang tough. But I thought that game was actual perfection, and it was just, no complaints.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, get filtered, noob.
Filtered out, biatch.
Yeah, and some of the patches made some of the bosses easier. I hope that inclines somebody to pick it up on sale if they have to. But I just have to keep saying it. That way From Software knows I want it and just give me more.
Hey, listen, if you're having trouble in Armored Core, just make a tank. You're all good.
Mm-hmm.
Get them treads, you'll be
Dark
good.
Souls 2, guys. The weeds get a Dark Souls 2.
Hell yeah, absolutely. No, they got one. It's called Code Vein. But
Oh, hey.
but all right. So my game of the year this year, listen. Baldur's Gate 3 is just gonna keep walking out with awards. It's my game of the year too. Listen, Baldur's Gate 3 is. I was a early access, early adopter for Baldur's Gate 3, so I was like, I've been with this game for pretty much half a decade, and I've been playing Act 1 for fucking 4 years. So it's one of those things where like I have been Baldur's Gated out, so I was like, really, what could they throw at me that they haven't thrown at me? What
from the Stadia exclusive?
From the former Stadia exclusive. What could they have thrown at me? God damn it. They threw the kitchen sink at me, fellas. This game's amazing. Like,
They threw the house at you, bro.
yeah, dude, it's incredible. Like, Baldur's Gate 3, listen, it's not just that this game has amazing writing, fantastic characters, amazing voice acting, great mocap, and solid turn-based combat. Even though the combat doesn't exactly scream action, even for a turn-based game, when the rubber hits the road in Baldur's Gate 3, that game is not a action game at all. It's a puzzle game. Every combat is a puzzle. So it's one of those things where like that might not jive with you, but it definitely will have that Mass Effect effect on you, where you get through the combat just to get to the next dialogue interaction, because that is the meat of the game. And every character, if you want to get into them and like get to know who they are, and like see what they're made of, you pretty much end up doing so. There are so many moments in this game that define so many factions that are going at it, and your choice and the profound impact of your choice on this game really lends itself to real replayability, as opposed to like, well, I'm just gonna pick this path and this path and this path, because the game could throw a lot of curveballs at you. This game is checking a lot of flags that you might not even know it's being checked. And then not only that, but I can play all of it 4-player online multiplayer. If I'm on a console, my friend can walk into my house, pick up another controller, press start, and boom, he's there. That's amazing.
Playing Baldur's Gate together, playing it together, bro.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, we've never had a CRPG like that before, and
Where
in
you can
2023,
where you literally just walk in the room, grab a controller, and press the start button, and you're there. No, we've never had anything like that before. That's
Can I
incredible.
say one thing on that actually?
what you got?
Larian did it in their previous title on Divinity Original Sin 2 via online.
Right,
So
but
they did it.
but you couldn't.
It is good.
But you couldn't walk into your friend's house.
Couch co-op.
No, you can go off both the games.
Yeah, you could, but you couldn't just jump in, like drop in, drop out in real life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you
I
have
was
to like,
talking about
have,
you have to actually plan out the campaign, but I'm saying
yeah, like a campaign co-op.
I was amazed that Larian did that before a couple years ago. That was just like I went back and looked at their category or their catalog, and I was just like, these guys have been doing cool stuff for a while.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, the 20-year overnight success story.
Yeah, seriously. But you know, for me, that's my game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3. It's, and I'm not saying that there aren't games that don't look better than it. Like Spider-Man 2 has way better mocap. Like the face work in Spider-Man 2 is like way better than Baldur's Gate. But at the same time, I would say the same thing about Hogwarts Legacy. Looks a lot better than Baldur's Gate. The storyline doesn't hit quite as hard. But you know, Baldur's Gate is just the complete package. Multiplayer, compelling character creation, compelling story, good writing, good voiceover performances, like everything. Amazing soundtrack. I don't know what else you need.
Okay, can I say the one thing that I think is not good, and this is a weird take, but it's not one that I haven't heard before about Baldur's Gate. I think that its biggest issues all are in the fact that it is in the D&D system.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of tabletop RPG people know that D&D itself, especially just base D&D, is not a very good system. I'm just gonna say good. I was trying to think of a nice way to put it, but it is not the best system for sure. So I feel like all of my frustrations were the fact that it was like, for example, like the combat. Sometimes you can do really clever stuff, but it's usually environmental, which is just their amazing game design that they have at Larian. But like a lot of times, it's like if you have to just brawl, it's like, oh yeah, this combat sometimes kind of sucks. But that's not their fault. It's like their greatest strength and their greatest weakness. So that's always going to be my big thing about it, is that base D&D as a system,
Yeah.
I find if you don't know
There's
D&D,
better stuff out there.
it can hold you back in the game if you don't know D&D.
A little bit, but I mean, at the same time, like I was saying earlier, that's why I think that the combat is circumvented and is saved from that element, because every combat is a puzzle more so than tactical combat.
Yeah, they do an amazing job of setting that up, where it's like they always give you ways to not just straight up fight people, because that would just suck. The game would suck then.
Yeah, it would suck.
But their game design is so good, and their like level design and the way that they plan their encounters, that it's like they're always giving you an out if you're smart.
Yeah.
Or multiple outs based on what your character can actually do, which is that's them overcoming the hurdle for sure.
And you know what? To me, that just makes the game a lot more solid as a game of the year for it. You know, it's not like fucking Icewind Dale or Baldur's Gate 2, right? Where like you're literally stuck with the second edition rules, and you're fucking fumbling around these weird obtuse stats because that's the game.
Thaco.
Like, nah.
Using that Thaco system?
Yeah, right. The Thaco system. Fuck.
Or Thaco, you call it?
Yeah, dude. Like, fuck. But, you know, like, Baldur's Gate... Anyway, Baldur's Gate 3, my game of the year. It's the complete package. If you're going to buy one game this year, it has to be Baldur's Gate 3. Like, you could play Spider-Man and fucking cape shit out. And I loved Spider-Man. I gave it a 5 out of 5. But, like, it's not... I don't think it's as feature complete as Baldur's Gate 3. Like, you're not going to get as much out of the game as you do in Baldur's Gate 3. You could play Baldur's Gate 3 on your own, play Baldur's Gate 3 with three other people, play Baldur's Gate 3 with one other person, and all three of those can be completely different gameplay experiences.
You also get your money's worth like so much. You know, people talk about
Yeah.
like, oh, would I really pay, you know, $80 for a game that's 10 hours? It's like, well, have you considered paying? I actually don't even know how much Baldur's Gate is at this point. It's $60.
Yeah, $60.
$60 for 500 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
More. It's like, yeah,
With
yeah,
friends.
You would. Yeah.
I try to get, if I buy a game, I always try to get that, you know, minute to dollar output. Like if the game's $40, I try to stick it out. 40,
To be
40
fair,
hours.
I don't believe in that. You know, I don't fucking go to an art gallery and pay $150 to get into an art gallery and expect there to be 150 hours. But like, when push comes to shove, you know, you do get a lot. Again, complete package. You get all the bang for your buck. Multiplayer, local multiplayer, online multiplayer, a compelling story, character creation, a solid role-playing system. Multiple ways to play the same game. You don't even need to make your own character. You could pick one of the other characters and have a completely different gameplay experience than you could have had making your own character. So, Baldur's Gate 3, if you're going to buy one game this year, it should probably be Baldur's Gate 3. You can play it a million different ways, and if you don't like the puzzle-based combat, it's the only hurdle that you need to get around. And guess what? If you do want to brawl your way through it, just pick a fighter. So,
Yep.
Baldur's Gate 3 is my game of the year. And you know what? We're going to end this. We've been going on way long. Our show is 2 hours tonight for our Game of the Year awards. But so we're not going to end it off on a very musical note, but we're going to end it off on our honorable mentions. Now, we're going to start it off just like normal with Chef. But honorable mentions, give you a little quick overview. Just whatever you think deserves a shout out. There are a lot of games this year, like a ton. And there are so many games worth playing this year. So this is your chance, our guests, to give us a shout out on what games you thought deserved a mention this year. Chef, what do you think is a game that deserves an honorable mention?
I think Street Fighter 6 is my honorable mention.
Yeah.
I think it was an incredible package for a fighting game, where that is a genre plagued with suboptimal packages of games and just good gameplay, and so I think it's just the perfect thing all around, and it sets the standard for everything to come. So shout out to Street Fighter 6.
Agreed. I think Street Fighter 6 just got lost in a shuffle a little bit with just so, you know, you had Mortal Kombat 1 that kind of outshined it with how greedy it got, unfortunately. But Street Fighter 6 is just the solid baseline for fighting games moving forward. I agree.
Yeah, that's actually going to be my honorable mention too. Is just since I didn't bring it up in any of the other categories earlier, and that's man, the World Tour mode. Really, like, I still need to come back and play that. I'm still trying. I actually got familiar with characters' moves, like from Street Fighter 2, but because my character that I made, like with the mohawk, was running around and like trying them all out. So like, if you know, even if you're new to Street Fighter or you've never played fighting games, there's some accessibility for you in the modern control schemes. I have not even checked out the Battle Hub. I have only been playing story mode and like trying out the characters with my friends. But yeah, since I didn't get to it in any other categories, yeah, Street Fighter 6 is going to be my honorable mention, as well as the Bomb Rush Cyberpunk soundtrack. You did mention Super Mario RPG soundtrack, so yeah, I'm still bumping Bomb Rush Cyberpunk songs in my car.
Well, goddamn.
All the time.
Drake's over here just taking up Johnny's turn. Johnny, I'm so sorry. What is your honorable mentions?
I mean, the finals, man. The finals is really damn good. I'm not really one to be about shooters or even online play when it comes to my streaming, but when that game comes out, I will be definitely streaming it.
Dude, the finals.
Thank God, a shooter that doesn't involve parachutes, a bus, or jumping out of an airplane or some sort. Like, it just
Yep.
it was refreshing to have something that was a little more tactical, trying to figure out how you're gonna get to an area, how you're gonna do your build. I like that slap, that shot hook it had on the light build. That thing was awesome, flying around the room, flying around the map. I look forward to that game. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The
And
finals.
the heady was fun too. Yeah.
The finals. Johnny Deal's honorable mention. And you know what? All right. Here's my honorable mention, and we'll cut the stream after this. We'll say our goodbyes after this, I should say. But you know, I gotta take my hat off to the game that pretty much set the stage for the year. It left a bad taste in my mouth after I finished it, I have to admit. It wasn't all that I thought it was cracked up to be. Another game that was like made an amazing first impression, but ended up disappointing me. But it wasn't as bad as Tears of the Kingdom, which took the cake in disappointment. But again, set the stage for the year. Hogwarts Legacy. That game. It's a shame that it went through the controversy that it did, and it's a shame that at this point it's pretty much all but forgotten, because that game is a standout action adventure title. It's one of those games. It doesn't do anything incredible. It doesn't break the mold on anything, but I'm not even a big Harry Potter fan. I really fell off like in grade school. Like, I had my phase and I moved on. But honestly, if you ever wanted to experience what it might be like to play a Harry Potter movie, that game is it. And it has enough of that charm and Harry Potter personality, like that Wizarding World personality, that it really draws you into it, and you just get lost in the world of Harry Potter and your own character's journey in it. Even if it might be linear, even if it might be like the story isn't anything special and the combat might not be anything special, all of it is very solid. So Hogwarts Legacy, I think, deserves a shout out. You know, it looks good, it plays fine. The whole game is on the disc. It didn't need any updates, you know what I mean? And it had a weird release schedule. It released first on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Then it went on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And then it recently released on the Switch, which is Jesus, mother of God. But like, talk about Switch ports. But like, you know, okay. And I get like, whatever controversy that might have surrounded it. But as a game, it was really good and a really great way to start off the year. So honorable mention goes to Hogwarts Legacy. And fellas, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Chef, one more time, where can everybody who wants to find you at on the internet? I know you're elusive.
Yes. My camouflage is not working as well as it could, but EGP Wonder Chef on all platforms.
EGP Wonder Chef, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your picks of the year on CFM Radio. Johnny Deals, where can we find you? Where are you streaming at?
You can find me on Twitch, Kick, sometimes on YouTube. I haven't figured out which one we're going to do yet, but definitely Twitch. Johnny Gills, all lowercase. And we always do thoughts and prayers, trying to keep up with the bi-weekly schedule of it every 2 weeks on YouTube. We're on episode 5. We just released the other one in accordance with GTA 6 on Monday. So check that out if you have a chance. And everything else, like I said, just like Mr. Chef here, I'm on all platforms. Johnny Gills, lowercase.
And for us here at CFM Radio, you know us, Drix.
Vector, it's been a good show.
It's been a great show. Thank you to our illustrious guests. And we ran late tonight, guys, but thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking with us. These were our picks of the year. Stay tuned on our Facebook page for our continuation of Super Mario RPG on RPG Theater from our good DJ Drix. Every Tuesday, I'm still doing the Retro Gold Mine. We're still playing Dragon Force, getting deep into the end game on that one.
Through the fires and the flames.
Through the fires and the flames, indeed. And thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.
Adios.
Happy Games of the Year, everyone.
Happy Games of the Year.
See you next year.
All right, we're good.